Stop picking up what God is trying to tell you to put down. Hi, my name is Elle Kramer, and welcome back to another episode of What the L. If you are new here, thank you so much for stopping in. Thank you for taking a listen. And without further ado, I just want to get right into it. So lately, I have been feeling like God is whispering into my ear, stop replacing what I'm trying to renew. I started from the beginning of the Bible recently, randomly one day, and I was just like, I just need to absorb as much as I can. Within a few days, I was in literally like Deuteronomy. I've heard all these stories, I've read them, but I never read it from back Genesis to Revelation, just sitting down. How many times is God trying to renew something in us where we are trying to replace? He tells us to put down this one vice, to put down this one passion, so that He can show us something else, something that's been right in front of us the whole time, but we are unwilling and not listening to His plan because we feel like we have our own plans. And how many times in our lives are we listening, are so self-reliant on our own plans that we forget to look at His promise? And He promises us good plans. You see where I'm getting at? God promises us good plans. Jeremiah 29:11. For I have good plans for you, says the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you. So whenever the Israelites were leaving Egypt, why did they want to go back? They knew that they were promised a promised land by God, but they wanted to go back to Egypt. You can't keep romanticizing Egypt whenever God is trying to give you the promised land. And Numbers 14 verses 3-4. Why does the Lord bring us into this land to fall by the sword? Our wives and our little ones will have become a prey. Would it not be better for us to go back to Egypt? How many times in our life are we trying to go back to our own Egypt? Whatever that Egypt might look like, whatever we think that God, we quote unquote know best, we know better than God because we want to have everything all in control. But let me tell you something. That is not walking in faith. That is walking on your own understanding and leaning on your own understanding. And you can't truly walk in faith. I've been humbled about this recently. You can't truly walk in faith whenever you keep trying to let God be your assistant. You're not letting Him take full control of your life. You're like, okay, God, you can be my assistant. You can be like my AI moment where you're like, I'm giving you some commands, but I'm not giving you all of it. I'm not giving you all of the reins. I'm not letting you take the full wheel. I'm going to take some of it and you can take this other stuff. You can work your little miracles here and there, but I'm going to take what's mine and you can have what's yours. And what's yours is this portion of my life. What's mine is this portion of my life. I'm going to take hold of the job search for my life. I'm going to find what's meant for me and it's going to come. In this theme of whenever the Israelites wanted to go back to Egypt, they wanted to go back to what was familiar. They wanted familiar bondage instead of unfamiliar freedom. And how many times are we not willing to trust God because we just want to go back to familiar bondage? What is keeping you in chains right now? And why do you want to go back to it? And I know you're like, I can't put this thing down. I can't stop doing this. I can't give Him control. But why? Stop saying I can't. You can. Your mind is very powerful. But why? What is the root of it? Why do you feel like you have to be in control? Are you afraid? What are you afraid of? Who are you afraid of disappointing? For me, I felt like I was afraid of being disappointed and being hurt and being not knowing what's going to come next, because as humans we like to be in control. We like to know what's coming next. But faith gives us something. It gives us the ability to see how God has provided in the past, how God is providing now, and how God will provide in the future, because He promises that. So many times in the Bible, He promises us that He will sustain us. But how many times are we wanting to go back to our own Egypt? We are afraid. We keep picking up what God is telling us to put down. What is God telling you to put down right now that you keep picking up? What are you holding on to? Sometimes we may put it down. We may say, okay, hey God, I'm reluctantly putting down what you're telling me to put down. I'm reluctantly not going to pick back up what you told me to put down, but instead I'm going to make this a loophole and I'm going to replace what you're telling me to put down with something else. I'm just going to replace this vice with another one. You notice whenever you start getting closer to God is whenever you get persecuted more. They never said it was going to be easy. Christian life is hard because you are more tempted, more put on trial, more convicted, more confused, because sometimes you're like, I can't hear you, God. I don't know where you're taking me, because you feel like this Exodus that was supposed to take you from Egypt to the promised land takes way longer than expected. This wilderness journey that was supposed to be 3 months is now 40 years. And you're wondering where God went. You're wondering, God, why did you forsake me? Why are you leaving me in this wilderness whenever I can't see what's next. I can't see what's to come. But God tells us that He is a lamp at our feet. He's going to guide us to the next right step. And that's all He's asking you to do today. That's all He's asking you to do today. And sometimes He's asking us to put down what we keep picking up. God cannot give you the promised land if you're still romanticizing Egypt. We all have our own Egypt. It may be a relationship that God delivered you from. Maybe a job, habit, or place that wasn't growing you. It may be a mindset or identity that once served you but now is limiting you. Yet sometimes we romanticize what broke us because it's familiar, because it feels normal, because we get so used to disruption and chaos that it becomes the new normal. We forget the pain and we only remember the parts that felt safe. This whole time since I've been back from living at the beach, I have felt confused. I felt, God, where's your hand in this? What do you want for me to do? Like my whole life, I was always envious of others who knew what they wanted to do with their lives, because whenever I was young, I wanted to be a singer. I can't sing. Let's just say that. Now that I'm older, I'm like, okay, I have this degree. What do you want me to do? What am I supposed to do with it? So here I am applying to all these 9 to 5s that want you to have 10 years of experience out the womb, and entry level jobs are taken out by AI, and it's basically impossible to find any entry level job at this point. And here I am trying to take control of the situation because I feel like I have no control. I feel like everything that I've been told from birth, that if I get this piece of paper, I'll get a job, or I'll get freedom, or I'll get this, I'll get that. And here's the truth, I still haven't gotten it. I've gotten rejected after rejection after rejection. And here's the truth, I'm so lucky because God's rejection is my protection. He's protecting me from something that I don't understand right now. And thank you, Father, for giving me the wisdom to understand this at this moment. Because there are moments where I'm like, I'm confused. Where are you leading me? Do you not want me to have a 9 to 5? What do you want me to do? I don't know. I feel like I'm trying to take control, but he's saying surrender. He's telling me to surrender. And I was looking at my dog the other day, always takes my claw clips all the time. And I'm like, can you not? This is mine. You're going to swallow a piece of my claw clip, and then we're going to have to take you to the ER again. Because one time he ate my dog ate my sock, and I had to take him to the ER, and they had to like give him some medicine that made him yak it all up so he wouldn't die. And it was really scary, and I was really worried about him. And sometimes I'm thinking about how I have to take away socks from him, take away hangers, take away pillows, take away these things from him because they're not good for him. But he doesn't understand that. And he can't have human food because it's not good for him. And he doesn't understand that. I can't let him off the leash because if he runs away, there's a chance he might get hit by a car, and he doesn't understand that. I know that life is better if I'm in his life for him. Sometimes he just wants to run away, and be off of his leash because he thinks that he can just have so much fun and go frolic and go play in the fields and go sniff every blade of grass that's out there. But in reality, there's danger, there's cars, there's hazards that can hurt him. But he doesn't understand that. And sometimes I have to take things away from my dog, things that he might think are good for him now, but that will hurt him later. And he doesn't understand that. And as I was thinking all of this to myself, I realized that's how God sees us. Sometimes God doesn't give us something, or doesn't answer a prayer, or take something away, not to hurt us, but to prepare us. So sometimes instead of my dog trying to chew up my claw clip, I'll place a dog toy in front of him. And that's the same thing with God's love. Sometimes what we keep replacing, God is trying to renew with something better. Or sometimes God takes away to give you something better. But sometimes he takes things away, says no, or corrects you, not to punish you, but to protect and prepare you. Life may not always go according to your plans, but are you remembering his promise? Faith allows us to have hindsight, insight, and foresight. God has provided, God is providing, and God will provide. You may feel like God is leaving you undelivered right now, but look at all that he has already delivered you from. You may keep calling out to God and he keeps leaving you on voicemail, but he's already working out the answer. 1 Samuel verses 15 through 18. God told Saul the kingdom would be given to David, but Saul refused to accept it and tried to kill David. God was trying to anoint something new, but Saul was already holding on to something that God had already moved past. When God replaces release it gracefully. Genesis 16 verses 1 through 6. Now Sarai, Abram's wife, had borne him no children, but she had an Egyptian slave named Hagar. So she said to Abram, "The Lord has kept me from having children. Go into my slave. Perhaps I can build a family through her." And Abram agreed to what Sarai said. This situation, God had already promised Abraham that he would have descendants as numerous as the stars. But Sarah, didn't feel like she would ever receive the fulfillment of that promise because she was too old. She was wise beyond her years. She couldn't see that God is capable of anything. She couldn't see where God was going to come through because she had already come to a conclusion of her own through her own logic, which was that she couldn't give Abraham what he needed and what they needed, so that she was going to replace God's plan with her own. She took matters into her own hands, even though she heard God's voice loud and clear that she will have a child. And she laughed. Isaac's name literally means laughter because she laughed whenever God literally said, "You are going to bear a son." At the age of 90, can you imagine being told whenever you have gray hair that you're about to pop out a child? That's actually insane. I can't imagine. I'd probably laugh too. We probably all would because that's wild. Unless you're Mary and you said, "Behold, I'm the handmaid of the Lord. I will do whatever he tells me to do. Like, let it be done to me as you according to your word." But she was perfect. They were so worried about their own plans that they tried to make the promise happen themselves. And this created tension. Hagar began to despise Sarai, or Sarah, whatever you want to call her. Sarah blamed Abraham and mistreated Hagar. And Hagar ran away broken and rejected. And Sarah was trying to replace God's promises with her own plans. We are called to surrender. Whenever he tells you to put down what you keep picking up, he's not telling you to go pick up something else. He's telling you to lay it all down at the foot of his cross and leave it there and say, "Lord, what do I do next? Give me something, because I know I can't do this on my own, but I don't understand your plan right now. And it's making me want to pull a Sarah and make the plan myself, execute my own plan, because I don't see your promise anymore." And how many times in our lives do we stop seeing God's promises because we become so wrapped up in the idea that our own plans are not working anymore? Our plans fall through, and we forget that God even had a promise in the first place. We forget that God took us out of Egypt to bring us into the promised land. Stop going back to Egypt. Stop romanticizing Egypt, because then God will finally be able to take you to the promised land. God cannot give you the promised land if you keep romanticizing Egypt. I love you so much, and I hope you got something out of this episode. Thank you so much for listening, and make sure to leave a like, leave a comment, drop a follow. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe. If you want to follow me on my other socials, be my guest. They're all going to be linked down below. And with that, you guys, I cannot wait to see you on the next episode. I love you so much. Bye.